Everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metal Nation, joined today by our good friend Rob Cavestany of Death Angel. It's always an honor to catch up with you. How is everything in your world?
Oh, everything is going great right now. Thanks, Rustin, and nice to speak with you too, and hello everybody out there.
So I was just sitting here thinking, while other bands of your era are winding down, retiring, aka Slayer, or fading out, we won't mention names, Death Angel continues to get stronger with each record. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know, man. We're stubborn. How about that? We're stubborn, and we don't want to give up. We don't want to fade out, and we don't want to wither away. Not just yet. So I don't know. We just got a fire burning for this shit, man. We love what we do, and we just try to, I guess another thing is we've so far done a decent job of keeping ourselves intact to where we can still do it properly. Yeah, we're on a mission to leave as big of a mark on the music world as we can in our lifetime. It's been our dream ever since, and we're still going at it, man. We love music. We love to play, and as long as you can keep this thing going, then you get to go on tour, you get to make records, you get to feel the energy and the excitement, and it kind of keeping you young if you take care of yourself the right way. So we'll see how far we can go, but I feel fortunate that we're in this place we're in right now.
Well, we're thrilled you're still making the music, and speaking of which, Humanicide is, I believe, your fourth album with the same lineup, the same producer, Jason Sukoff. How much has that stability and familiarity played in the band's resurgent success?
I think it's played a huge role. I think we made the right decision to work with Jason on Relentless Retribution, and we're very, very pleased with the way that record turned out, everything about it. So, of course, we went back for more. And more and more, and it's now at this point is basically the idea of if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it kind of thing. We just figure at this point we have the production team intact, and now it's just about creating the best songs and the best music we can come up with, and being confident that when we get into the studio and actually record the record, it's going to come out sonically sounding fucking awesome. Now we're just competing with our own selves, with our own previous records, trying to make it sound better and be better than the one before it.
Well, and that's sort of a heavy burden to carry with as strong as you guys have been, and you're the principal writer in the band and the pre-production guru. That's a lot of weight to carry on your plate.
No wonder I'm so fucking exhausted. But, it absolutely is, but at the same time, I'm some kind of I guess I like to torture myself and put myself in these exhausting situations because I'm kind of a workaholic anyway, and if I wasn't doing that, then I'm just going to end up getting antsy and wanting to put myself into a challenging situation, I guess. I mean, I'm not doing it on purpose, but I seem to always end up in that place, so that's just the kind of guy I am, and I just, try to accept the fact that I just consider that that's my purpose. That's my purpose here on this planet, in this lifetime, and in this band. That's my role. And a lot of guys are counting on me to keep it rolling like that. So I want to fulfill the task and rise to the challenge.
It's funny, I was sitting here reading an interview that I did with you way back in the day with the Informant magazine when all of this was first starting in the Bay Area. And I was thinking about how organic everything was back then there. You just get in the studio, you jam, all that stuff. Now with all the technology we use these days, Pro Tools and such, how do you find ways to infuse some of that organic process back into the creative process of writing and recording?
Ooh, okay. I like this question, but before that, hold on. Pause and rewind. Did you say the Informant?
Yeah, I was the editor.
As in area informant.
Yep.
As in this plaque that's in my studio where we won the Informant magazine's first annual Thrash Awards.
Absolutely, I still have 2 or 3 of those things sitting around in my garage.
That rocks, man. That thing sits there. I look at that thing every day because it's there in my studio, and it's one of the very, very few awards we've ever won. But I'm proud of that. And that was a good time. So that's a trip that you even brought that up. Right on. And good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
It has.
But so all right, getting to the question of the the technology and everything brought forth into this modern futuristic reality, and how do we keep things organic? And that's happening by a couple things, I think. First of all, the cast, the players involved in here are old school. I mean, we're all our whole band is coming from the old school. We can't help it. We were there in the old school, and we're old school cats. So that right off the bat, we're not modern cats. If anything, that's one of the reasons we work with Jason, because he's the modern cat.
Right.
He's a dude that's on the cutting edge of technology and production, and I definitely want that happening to our music. Otherwise, we're gonna be fucking dinosaurs over here, and I don't want that happening. I want to fuse the old school with the new modern production, and so part of that is just us being us, being totally influenced, by old school music. And secondly, it's pushing to get together in the same room as two actual humans, organically having the energy come out of two people in the room, or two or more people, and getting it to flow into a creative space and trying to capture that into recordings. So with that meaning, when I write songs, I'm doing it with the modern technology in my studio and coming up with the parts and recording on Pro Tools and everything. But then I could leave it that way and just start moving on and starting to get the vocals in there and going forward with it. But before doing that, we'll take the extra work and the extra step of, I meet Will, our drummer, at our rehearsal studio, and then we sit there and organically work on the songs together, jam them out live in the room, and get them. He's playing live drums, and we're working on beats and arrangements and stuff like that. And then I'll record his live drums into the demos. And then the same thing's gonna happen with Damien. I could very well send him the files over, and he can just work on it using the internet and using computers, and then he doesn't even ever have to encounter me in the same room. But we don't do that. He comes over to my house, and then we sit together and vibe out and jam together on the stuff and go over the parts. And there's just there's an organic energy happening that way. Something different happens when you do that. Then same thing in the recording studio. I'm there together with Mark. We're going over, the vocal ideas and melodies, harmonies, and that's about as much as you can do to, put an organic thing into it in this day and age, as far as we're able to do it, by the means that we can use.
Absolutely. Now, in many ways, Humanicide feels like an extension of The Evil Divide and the album before that, but every album is also a snapshot of a period in time for the band. So tell us a little bit about the new album from your perspective and what this moment captured for you guys.
The thing about this album that's kind of different to me, that is compared to the ones, the last 6 records or something I could picture, especially the last 4 that we did with Jason and at Audio Hammer, is that we try to downplay the whole process of it. We didn't really try to keep on posting all these play-by-plays of, we wrote another song now, and now we're going to start tracking this or doing that. We just said, you know what, I kind of got tired of trying to play that game with social media and try to do that. I just wanted to kind of go, again, here's going to an organic and old school idea, but I was in the fucking past, man, you didn't have this shit. You just all of a sudden heard that the album, all of a sudden you just heard that a band had a new album coming out. They weren't giving you all these updates along the entire process of the thing. And it was kind of cool that way in the old school. There wasn't too much over information that by the time this new album's coming out, you're already fucking sick of their album. You know what I mean? Nowadays, there's so much pre-fucking stuff sometimes that by the time the thing actually comes out, you've already heard, it's you're over it already. So we're let's just work on our music privately and just don't really say shit and kind of try to shock people when the next thing they hear is here's a new song and our album's coming out. And that's kind of what we did with this record. And because of that, it just gave a different mood and vibe overall. It kind of felt more private or something. It just felt more deeper musically because we were kind of doing it for ourselves and not trying to use the process as a promotional situation or something. So because of that, I feel that this album seems, I don't know, just a lot more heartfelt or something. Not that the other ones weren't. I can't really compare it that way because each album when it's coming out, you're thinking it's your best thing you've ever done and all that. It's, you know, of course you're thinking that in that moment of time. This one is no different. We do think that, and we hope that it's going to be well received, but at the same time, it's kind of weird because we didn't really play it for that many people. Like in previous albums, there was just more other people involved before the album came out. In this case, it's just like, it kind of feels like we just did it in secret almost. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking as we're putting it out now, because now all of a sudden I'm coming to realize that we're about to be judged. We're about to be judged and fucking thrown under the bus by the fucking mean people that want to comment fucked up shit. No, I'm just kidding. You know, we're excited for the album to be out, but that's the best way I can explain how that went down.
Yeah, the blabbermouth trolls. I know what you're talking about, but and that's
exactly, dude.
And it's sort
exactly.
of. I was thinking about this the other day, though, too, because you're talking about all that advanced stuff that comes out. There's usually 3, even 4 leader songs. And all the record labels now, to promote through social media and stuff, they do 3, 4, 5 of these videos of the band talking about the album, the documentaries. I'm like, are doing interviews like this, and I don't want to be shooting myself in the foot because I love catching up with you, but are doing interviews like this even relevant anymore when you guys sit down in a studio and talk about the album over the course of 6 or 7 of these things for every record? What are you talking about with people that hasn't already been asked and answered, you know?
Dude, exactly. And to top it off, this is the 4th record that we did with the same team, the same production team at the same studio. So there's not much like of a variety to like say something different about the producer or the studio, because like you're trying to think of something else to say, but fuck, it's the 4th time we're trying to say this talk about the same kind of environment. So that's another reason why we're just trying to not really, you know, of course you're gonna talk about it and stuff here and there, but we don't want to overdo it. And the same thing is that's also the reason why it was kind of a trip, but we didn't document the recording this time. Like, we didn't bring a film crew in there and have cameras all up in your face while you're recording and trying to be creative. And we just said, this is part of the, like, kind of doing it more privately and more personally or something like it. We didn't make a thing about it like that. So the entire recording, but the thing is, we went to the total extreme. So now, like, we hardly snapped 3 photos with our iPhones, like, the whole time we were in there. So, like, you know, we're being asked for, of course, the press needs photos of the band in the studio, footage in the studio, and we're like, we don't have any. And like, our label's like, are you serious? Like, you gotta have, like, let's get some pictures and some shit. We're like, there is nothing. It's literally in our memories, and all you can do is hear what it is, and that's all it is. But I kind of like it that way. Like I said, it's almost given it more of a depth to how it used to be in the old days. Like, you just didn't see all these videos of every part of the process. Like, it's just a little more mysterious. How about putting it that way? I like it that way.
And that's sort of been stolen from rock and roll and heavy metal over the years. It used to be you couldn't even get near the people that you idolized and loved the music. And now you almost have to have that constant connection to stay relevant in public and get people to come to the shows, which is where you make your money now, because streaming and buying isn't doing shit for the bands. So you're almost forced into that role of accommodating that.
You absolutely are. And I, you know, to be quite honest, I'm not trying to say it in a negative way or trying to be like, I don't need to be bothered talking about. I'm not trying to be that. It's just that, yes, it steals away some of the mystique and the mysterious, enchanting magic there's a distance between the person that's putting the entertainment or the art out and the person who's enjoying it. And myself, there's, you know, bands and artists that I've worshipped for decades. Like, they're my most favorite stuff. And probably if I dig and dig and dig, I can, like, try to find out exactly what they meant about that or what that means. But, you know, I don't really want to. Like, I having my perception of it, like, and that's kind of how his original intent of the stuff is. So, you know, if it comes down to it and we're talking about it and I'm in the right mood, I'll elaborate deeper and deeper about what exactly we're meaning by that, and exactly that is. But I kind of really don't dig that, because I like it to be perceived. It kind of gives it a, you know, every person's got their own idea of what they're feeling, what that's supposed to mean, or it means something to them. And sometimes you'll destroy it if you like tell them, well, actually, I was talking about this, and they're like, oh shit, the whole time I was imagining that you were singing about this. Now the song's not as cool anymore.
Well,
or something, you know. So yeah, I don't mind explaining, but it's not because I don't want to explain because I'm being lazy and I don't want to explain about it. I just don't want to like ruin the mystique.
Right. And do we really want to know every time, you know, Ozzy's having a bowel movement or what he's having for dinner? You know, it's like, come on.
There's lyrics of our own songs, like lyrics that Mark has written, and like I just love the lyrics. And in my mind, I'm envisioning who he's talking about per se when he's pissed off about someone or some topic or something, and I'm like, the whole time in my mind I'm envisioning this. Then maybe 8 years later, after that song's been out, me and Mark will be sitting somewhere and having a drink, and for some weird reason the topic will come up, and then all of a sudden in that moment he'll explain to me what he was talking about when he wrote that song, like who or what exact situations inspiring those lyrics, and it'll blow my mind, because the entire time I've been playing that song for God knows how many times, I'm just thinking he's thinking this, and all of a sudden it's something else, and it's a trip. But I don't necessarily need to know that, because I kind of like listening to it like a fan of music and having my own idea of what's going on in there. That's kind of how, to me, that's how songs are supposed to be perceived, not with a liner note to explain to you the exact detail of the inspiration of every song. I'm sure it's interesting to people, but it doesn't need to happen that way.
Exactly. I know you got your other interview to get to, so I'll cut out some of these what would have been generic questions anyway, because you're going to answer them for five more people.
Thank you. refer to bio.
Exactly, right? So, but before we get out of here, again, sort of talking about this, you're getting ready. I just talked to Bobby Blitz the other day. You guys are getting ready to go out and tour. You guys started around the same time, but it makes me wonder, because it's so many decades have gone by. When you guys get together, do you still war story and talk about the old days, or now is it all about whipping out the kids' photos and talking about we're getting older, we got to take these supplements, we got to do this to stay in shape? What do you guys even talk about on the road anymore?
It's all of the above, definitely, and especially when we're gonna get together with fellow old school cats that have been through everything we've been through, and for the same amount of time. It's going to be fun on this tour. We've actually never toured with Overkill, unbelievably. We were like, this is the first tour we're ever doing with Overkill. It's insane. But we haven't. We've played tons of festival shows where they're on the same bill, so we've definitely hung out and like played together on many occasions. But in those situations, it's just a really quick, you don't really get together that much because you're running around and there's so many bands around that you just kind of, what's up, all right, and it's just keep it light and keep it quick. So I'm sure on this upcoming tour, we're going to definitely get to know each other better and have all of these conversations that you're talking about. Everything from, you know, which bingo parlor do you you know, what do you do for your arthritis? No, there'll be every one of these conversations, and of course, I'm sure I'll bond with any other parent who's going to be there, because in my clique, I'm the only parent, so that's kind of weird for me on tour, because I can't relate to anybody else in my entire party there who's got a kid. That's kind of rough for me. So whenever there's going to be somebody else that's got kids, I'll definitely bond with those people, and you know, we'll have our talking about fucking the mayhem of being a parent and being in a band like this, which is insane. But yeah, and at the same time, we'll fucking party down and have a blast and talk about the old times, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of laughs, and I'm expecting a really good time.
Awesome. Rob, thanks so much for taking a little time to talk with me. The new album, Humanicide, for those who haven't heard any of it yet, except for the title track, it is phenomenal, and we're looking forward to getting released at the end of May. And we appreciate that you're still making the music, and it's just good to see you keeping it going. I will let you get out of here. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Rustin. It was great talking to you. Much appreciated, and hope to see you out there on tour.